Indie Beacon Radio with host B. Alan Bourgeois. Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hi, and welcome to Indie Beacon Radio. I am your host today. My name is B. Alan Bourgeois, and we have with us Glo Jenkins Brown, who has written a couple stories that I'm going to guess are for young adult readers, but we're going to find out in a little minute a little bit more about the books and how she's created them and a little bit about Joe. So welcome, Joe.
Hi, how are you?
Great. So Glo, let's start with the basics. What got you into writing?
Well, I was an English major at SMU, and I was always into words and writing, but basically being an actor, I was involved in storytelling in a way. And later on, I decided that I wanted to write children's books. So, because I've always been involved with children, I have a young grandson that I help take care of, and it just seemed like a logical progression from film and television to writing.
All right. So how did you end up creating the characters then? I mean, no, let's back it up. So, you're a storyteller, both by profession as an actress, and then your grandchild and stuff. So what was it that launched the first idea for a book?
Well, the Screen Actors Guild, which I'm a member of, has a reading program for schools. So I went into the grade schools around here and did reading for the 5th grade. Or 4th grade, as he was in then. And I thought, wow, this is really fun. And the books are interesting and the kids are fascinating and they ask questions. And I thought, I think maybe I would really like to do that. I've done other writing before, more professional writing. I've never done anything off the top of my head. It's all been like interpreting a lesson or something. So anyway, it was very interesting that I challenged myself to write fiction and come up with ideas and storylines, and it was fun. I based my characters on, because I knew I love dogs and my son, I have a son, and I thought, well, I'll just have the two of them sort of be buddy detectives and go out and solve crimes together. So Max, which is the scruffy little dog, he's my rescue dog, and so it was easy to pattern his actions and stuff after my dog, although my dog didn't talk. So anyway, but Max does. And then Joey, of course, was my son at 11. So the two of them kind of romped and worked their way through the storylines.
So how did you come up with that particular storyline? I mean, was it something in the back of your mind you've been thinking about for a while, or did somebody say something? Did your grandson say something? What sparked that particular story?
Well, the genre that I love the most is crime related on an adult level, of course. And I just love to listen to books on tape about crime and mystery. And I thought, well, I want something to do with both of those. And of course, it's all G-rated. I certainly didn't want to offend any child at all. So I had fun kind of, it's been a number of years since I started, and I kind of don't remember exactly why I did. But I came up with this project, Max and Joey, buddy detectives. And growing up, I was a fan of the Nancy Drew mysteries, which was always the case of. So in my two books, first of all was the case of the hit and run driver. And then the second one was the case of the missing necklace. So they all kind of flowed into each other. And I have one more if I'm able to write that. And then maybe that trilogy will be it for me. But maybe not, hopefully not, because I enjoy writing. And I don't know that I'm a conventional kind of writer because I have kind of my own way of jumping into it. I always know how the book is going to begin, or I have an idea of what I want at the beginning. And then at the end, that it's that middle part that really is kind of vague and wide open for me because I don't exactly know what's going to happen. And perhaps other writers will share what I feel and what happened to me, because it was a big surprise. You're typing away and you're writing what you think you want to do, and all of a sudden your character goes over here, and I'm going like, wait a minute, where did that come from? I didn't think about that. So you write about that, and then it goes over here, and you go write about something else, and pretty soon you've got this whole middle part has just almost written itself, and it's hard to say. I had nothing to do with it. I was just here, the vehicle, typing away. And then gradually it flows into the end. So it was an amazing process for me, who's never written a fiction book before.
Yes,
It was fun.
we call that the characters are talking to you when that happens.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, and it's surprising what will happen during that time period and stuff. They tend to have a way of being very vocal or very forceful about what they think they should be doing or not doing. Right. And that's that surprise. It's like, wait a minute, where did that come from and stuff.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
so, but Max is kind of my comic relief, because my dog Max was a goofy kind of dog. And so Max in the book is that way, and he gets into all kinds of trouble, and Joey has to kind of rescue him out of there, and then he goes off somewhere else. And so he is a much the comic relief, but nothing is totally heavy. My main objective is to entertain these children, and I want them to kind of get into the feel of what it's like to be looking after not an accident, but looking after a situation that needs resolving. And in the first book, it was about the hit and run driver. And then the second book is they're on a canine cruise. And Max, by this time, is invisible and talks, so he can go anywhere Joey goes. So, of course, he bounced onto the ship, and it's a fun ship, and all of the crew people are dressed like dogs, and all the restaurants are like Husky hamburgers and Yorkie yogurt, and they're all named after dogs, and it's a fun romp. I guess if you don't like dogs, you might not identify too much with it, but almost everybody does like dogs. So it was a fun romp, and they were aboard this cruise ship to Nassau and the Bahamas. So of course I had to bring in Bluebeard, who had his island there. It was just fun. And each of am I out of time at all, or am I okay?
You're fine.
Okay. Each of my books has two things in common. First of all, I want a police force, because I want children to know that the police are out there to help you, to advise you, to help guide you and inform you, and be your buddy and your pal and your rescuer. So I have them there. And then I also have these bizarre, crazy ladies. They have to be ladies this time. Maybe the next time it'll be a guy. But they help in their own way to promote a direction for Max and Joey to take that will eventually lead them to whoever has committed this offense, I'll say, because it's not really a crime. Nobody ever dies, nobody bleeds, nobody is ever sick. It's very G-rated, but there is something has happened, and they get through it and find the culprit that did it. So it's kind of fun.
Now you mentioned that's fun and G-rated, but your first one is the story of the hit and run. So what is the hit and run? Without giving away too much of the story, what is that really about? Well,
I struggled over this because I wanted the dog to be invisible and talking so that he could go everywhere Joey went. But in order to do that, he couldn't be a dog that you adopt at a rescue place, because they don't have him invisible and talking. So I figured, well, the best thing to do was just have him die and then come back as a ghost dog. And I was in a writing class, and this woman said, "Oh, you can't kill a pet of a kid." And I went, "Oh my God, I can't kill a pet." So I went back and tried to rework it, and it just didn't work. So I went back and I went ahead and did it just the way I wanted to in the beginning. And I read to a lot of schools, and I went to this one school whose teachers had already read the book. So it was nice because I came in and they already knew the story, because Max was killed by this guy in a green Chevy or green car, and it's on the cover of the book, so it's not a big surprise. But I asked these kids, I said, "Does it bother you that the dog died?" And they all said, "Heck no, I lost a fish one time, we flushed it down the toilet, and this and that happened." And they said, "But he came back as a ghost dog. Oh, I wish my dog had come back that way." And my little grandson, Aiden, who is only 10, has already lost 2 great-grandparents, 2 dogs, a couple of cats, some of his reptiles have died. So, at this point, kids usually have experienced death at some point. So it didn't seem to bother these kids that this dog died, because he came back as this ghost dog who talked and was invisible. But I treated the period of time after he was hit very gently because I didn't want the kids traumatized. I didn't want it to be a big ta-da-da-da. So, it had happened. They buried him in the backyard, and then Joy was out playing basketball one day, and the dog appeared around the corner as a ghost dog. So it kind of flowed as gently as I could, without upsetting the children, which obviously it didn't at this class, at least. They all were thrilled that he came back as a ghost dog.
Yeah, the supernatural for them is not an issue. And you handled it, sounds like, the right way.
Right.
So it was not traumatic for them, which is good and stuff. So you have
this is a mystery fantasy, and there's a lot of fantasy that goes in there. Both of these bizarre ladies who helped promote the thesis of the story are magical. I mean, the things they do. There's a picture of this lady up here who is really neat, dressed up like Miss Bubbles, and she flies everybody, the policeman and Max and Joey, they fly up in her pink hot air balloon looking for the car. And in order to rise, they all have to choose pink bubble gum. And when the gum gets soft enough, they blow a bubble and all the bubbles pop. It's time to level off and look for the car. I mean, it's all fantasy with all this. So the fact that the dog died and came back is still part of the fantasy. And for some reason, the children accepted it. Gratefully.
Yeah, and kids love chewing gum, so that's another fun thing for them as well.
Yeah. Well, I know what they watch on YouTube, and I'll tell you the stuff I catch Aiden watching. It's like, what is that rated? PG, and it probably is, but it's awful. So I don't think you could really offend most kids today.
Yeah. Well, this is a perfect point for us to take a break and let our sponsors do their thing, and we'll be right back.
The 5th Annual Authors Marketing Event is coming to Granbury, Texas, July 24th through the 27th. Join us and learn from the professionals how to properly market and sell yourself and your books. Go to ame.authorsmarketingguild.com for all the details. That's ame.authorsmarketingguild.com.
I'm Rox Berkey.
And I'm Charles Brakefield. We're award-winning co-authors, Brakefield and Berkey, of the Enigma book series. There are 10 books in the series, with book number 11 planned for release in January 2020.
Each story has a central technology focus ranging from identity theft to cryptocurrency and now AI wars. These adult techno-thrillers pit cyber good guys against cyber thugs across the darknet.
In our world, technology is today's weapon of choice. You can enjoy ebook format, paper, or Audible. We want your feedback.
Until the next story, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, hello there, my friends. My name is Randy James, independent voiceover producer in the Dallas, Texas area, available to write and record a 30-second commercial, much like the one you're hearing right now. It's a great way to help increase awareness and exposure to your book title. It's easy to do. Simply call me and we'll brainstorm on a few ideas, and in a few hours, I'll whip something up and send you a digital file ready to use. Remember, call or text me, Randy James, at 214-762-1942.
Hello, I am the author and poet Denise Bryson. I am the author of The Things That Cross My Mind, Love's Reality, both in book and audio form. I am also noted as one of the best poets of 2011. I have 2 new projects coming up. One is the Blinky series, where Blinky tells us all about our coins and our bills for our children. I also have a book coming out called Say Ye. It's quotes from Denise Bryson, just inspirational and that will help you along the way.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
And welcome back. This is Indie Beacon, and this is your host, B. Alan Bourgeois. We have Glo Jenkins Brown with us, and we're talking about her books for young kids. First off, let's clarify the age range that your books are for.
Mostly from ages 7 to 11, which is what I had thought it was. But so many of the mothers had said, my child has read all of these big, thick books that have been out, for several years. She said, oh, they'll breeze through that book in a couple of hours. That's no problem. So I guess they do, because I thought maybe it would be a big deal for them to read that. But when Aiden was in the 4th grade, they were right into the first chapter books, and he had never read any of my books. So I said, how about reading one of Mimi's books? Oh, no. Well, he did. And he was so cute because he all of a sudden started talking in the voice of the characters. I mean, when he talked like Max, he was down like this. And then Miss Bubbles was all flitty up in here, and so he talked up here. He just got carried away. I thought it was really cute. And I would love to have the kids, if they read something like this, to enjoy developing the characters and the voice of the characters too, because it was really fun.
Sounds like you might have an actor in your family there.
Yeah, perhaps.
So Max is the dog, and Joey's the son, the owner, and stuff. And of course, that's not Aiden, who you originally had thought of the books for. So how did you come up with the names Max and Joey?
I'm not really sure. I knew that I wanted Max, and in my mind, I just wanted to have a name that kind of worked with Max. And somewhere I thought about Joey. And the really interesting thing is, I had, first of all, Max and Joey. I don't even remember what the original title was, and I thought, gee, maybe I ought to look it up and make sure that there's not another Max and Joey buddy detectives out there. And sure enough, there was another Max and Joey series of books, but they were different from mine. They were more cartoon characters and stuff. So I had to go away from what I was doing, and that's where I thought about buddy detectives, the case of, as it goes. So, but Joey just kind of came to me, and Max and Joey worked, and that was that. Now, when I look for names, one of the places that I go, which is very strange to you probably, is the obituaries. And I'll tell you why. There are so many wonderful names in the obituaries. Now, granted, I can't use the whole name, because that would be awful if somebody recognized it and said, oh, this author made my mother this zany lady and whatever. But I combine names when I find them. And I have a couple of friends that will call up and say, oh, Glo, I read another name that you might use. But I was reading in a book, in the obituaries, which I rarely do, because we only take the paper 2 days a week, but it was Eula Bell something or other. And later on in those obituaries was somebody named Quattlebaum. And those two names just jived for me. I thought, Eula Bell Quattlebaum from Savannah, Georgia. Well, how much more southern can you be? So that's the woman in the second book who has her ruby necklace stolen. And so I got that one, and I've gotten several out of there. And also I work in a retail store, and names come hit me every day from different, customers. So I just find names, and there was one that I wanted to use. It was, now I can't find it right now, but it was like, you're going to edit some of this, right? My hemming and hawing around. But Dingle Bell or some name like that. And I can name a woman the other day that was Tixie something. It's crazy names. And so I'll find first names that go with these other names that sound kind of strange. And I also have books of names. I have books of children's names, especially boys. I have books of animal names, and I look for dogs. I have names that associate with different areas, like when we were in Nassau on the cruise. I didn't get to go, but anyway, when they went, I found names, and I wanted a mystery dog, like a ghost dog, and the Skipper D. I've never heard of a Skipper D dog, but it is a real dog that used to ride on the backs of these pirate ships and guard against anybody coming to get their treasures. So this dog suddenly became one of the animals that I wanted to talk about. And then Max Invisible, the Skipper Key I named him Murphy, because I like the name Murphy for a dog. But anyway, the two of them got together. They were both invisible, and so it was just one of those things that kind of happened. And it was one of those moments that wrote itself. And we had 2 ghost dogs, and at that point, Max has the ability to let anybody that he wants see him and hear him. And but by that time, of course, Joey knew him, and then the little girl, Mitzi, who's the granddaughter of Beulah Bell, was there with them. The trio worked this mystery. So she had seen him, and the 2 police people, for some reason, because they were magical anyway, so they saw him right from the get-go. And it was kind of fun to see, all of a sudden, one more person see and hear him when he doesn't know for sure that they do. So,
now, you mentioned that you are working on a 3rd book, or you're hoping to write the 3rd book. Tell us a little bit about that, and what's your time frame as to have that done?
Soon. I kind of procrastinated because I'm not very, as you probably are well aware, I'm not very mechanically oriented, like with computers and phones, and they all just get away from me. But Beulah Bell, I had made her in the book be from Savannah. So after they found her necklace, and she gave Joey, and she couldn't see Max, but she gave Joey and Mitzi, her granddaughter, total credit for finding who found her necklace. And so as a reward, she invited Joey and his parents to Savannah to spend a weekend in her big palatial southern home. And so I had been to Savannah before, and in fact I took a ghost tour before I had even known I was going to write a book, and found out that Savannah is the most, according to the woman who held the tour, the most haunted city in the country. And in fact, when you put your house up for sale, if you don't identify that your house has spirits in them, you can actually be fined, which kind of was heavy duty to me. But anyway, so when she said, come on, y'all, come to my place, and I'm going to entertain you for a weekend in my big palace, and da-da-da-da. So they're all excited to go to Savannah. And of course, Max and Joey are excited because it's very haunted. And so we'll get into stuff like that. But I sent in for one of those brochures from the Chamber of Commerce because I wanted to know what Savannah had a history of. And my gosh, there's all kinds of creepy, wonderful places there to explore. So I haven't quite come to grips with all of it yet. I just know that in the beginning, something is going to get lost or stolen or whatever, and in the end, they will find it. So that's as far as I've gotten. But I'm hoping to maybe take a trip to Savannah and go through and see some of these places that I've read about in the brochure that are so fascinating. There's a lighthouse. It's a very spooky and fun to hide ghosty kinds of things. So I think it'll be a fun experience, and hopefully for the kids too. When I went to one of the schools, one of the kids said, are you going to write another book? And I said, well, and then I talked about Savannah. And they started writing the book for me. I wish I had a pencil and paper, because why don't you make it a ghost out in the water, and then the sharks come in and all this stuff, and somebody else did something else. And, I've already used ghost before, so I have to come up with something a little different. But they were having such fun creating this story for me. So I said, you guys, I'm going to have to enlist your services when I get ready to write this book, because they were so full of ideas.
Yeah, I actually was sitting here thinking about pirates and things of that nature and stuff, because that did happen in that area and stuff. So, excuse me. So we are again at that point. We need to take a break for our sponsors, but we'll be right back.
Thank you for watching or listening to Indie Beacon Radio. Our sponsor, IndieLector.store, is the only bookstore that pays authors their fair share for book sales. Help authors to succeed and enjoy a great book by supporting them at IndieLector.store. Enjoy a 10% discount with coupon code SHOPPER20 at IndieLector.store. Coupon valid until December 31st, 2020. That's IndieLector.store, coupon code SHOPPER20.
What started as a love letter to her son has become an international love letter for all parents to their children. Now you can read acclaimed author Shanalee Charbonneau's story to your children. When her son was very sick, she calmed him by singing her own song to him. She turned that song into the book, My Mama Loves Me, I'm Her Little Boy. She wrote 3 more magical books for all parents and kids 6 and under. Available at Indie Lector, Amazon, and all local and national outlets.
We Fiction is a fun, fast-paced writing contest for any author team to create a book based on what readers submit for plot, characters, locations, and even plot twists. Learn more about this unique contest at wefiction.dearindy.org.
Authors Marketing Guild is a membership-owned organization designed to help authors succeed and learn how to better market and sell themselves and their books. Join us at authorsmarketingguild.com and receive so many benefits you'll wonder why you didn't join sooner. That's authorsmarketingguild.com.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
And welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. This is your host, B. Alan Bourgeois, and I have Glo Jenkins Brown with us. We've been talking about her books, Max and Joey, the Buddy Detective books, and in the last session we talked about her third one that she's working on. So for any of the parents who would like to get these books for their children, how can they find them and where are they available and all that fun stuff?
They're available on Amazon, both of the books, and they are books to order, and then they print it. You know, they have all the stuff, and so it's not like they send you immediately the book, but it'll come within days. Because when I order books and when I go to shows to sell books, the books come to me very fast, within like a week. So it's a very easy way to go.
So let's talk about that. If somebody wanted to find out where you're going to be, do you have a website that they can go to find out your schedule and all that fun stuff to get books from you directly?
Yeah, some do. I've just started with my website. And as I said, I know so little about all this. So I have another man that's helping me do that, but he set up other websites. And eventually I'm going to have it up and going. But it's Glo at maxandjoeybooks.com. So it'll be out there eventually. And then when I have it up, then I'll be able to put it, on my website. And I've had a number of parents comment very favorably on the books, but I didn't request it, and they just wrote to me or somehow contacted me. But now they will have a real place to go. Eventually, I would love to maybe have a part where Max and Joey can talk to the kids. That's a little bit down the way. I'll be doing good to get my own website up.
So for those people that want to reach out to you, keep in touch with the story ideas, or maybe give you a story idea, do you have social media that they can follow?
Well, I'm on Facebook and I'm on LinkedIn, but I really don't know very much about either one. I read more about what my friends say than anything that I write, but I know that I'm going to have to start utilizing that more often. And so I intend to do that. But I have my own email, which is glo@wordsarmy.biz, and it's WORDS, the letter R, ME.biz. So they can always reach me through that until I get something a little bit more dog-oriented, book-oriented for them to contact. And I hope they will.
So we've got just a couple minutes left, and I always ask authors this one question. For somebody who wants to get into writing or creating a story, do you have any words of advice?
I do. Sit down and start writing. I can't tell you how many people come up to me when I've done a book saying, oh, I have all these stories in me and I don't know what to do and whatever. And I said, just sit down and write. And don't be too critical. Don't start editing the first page. Just get the ideas down on paper and get a direction and find out what you need to do. And sometimes you may only get one page done or one paragraph done, but at least it's a start. And once you do that, it is very infectious, as I'm sure you probably found out, that once you start writing, you can't wait to get back to the computer and get it all down. So that's my best advice. Don't just talk about it, do it. And it may or may not work,
Yeah, but at least it might be good therapy too, just to get it out there.
Right. That's right.
All righty. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time and being with us. We wish you the best of luck on your books, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Alan. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website.
Indie Beacon Radio with the host, B. Alan Bourgeois. Indie Beacon Radio is produced by B. Alan Bourgeois for Authors Marketing Guild, LLC, copyright 2020. Voiceover by Randy James, Lydia Bello, and B. Alan Bourgeois. To be a sponsor of the show or for more information, please email us at info@authorsmarketingguild.com. To be interviewed for the show, please complete the form at radio.authorsmarketingguild.com. Music Always Rejoice by Ramcord